Welcome everybody to another episode of Next Possession Sports Podcast. I'm like I said, we have three of us in the building today. The beardless wonder. You might have noticed him last time he had the full beard. You know what I mean? But guess he shaved it all off. I gotta
coming back. It's coming back.
Able to get a little fresh shape up. You know what I mean? Barbershop's open up here. Kamal, what's going on?
Yeah. Friday's happening.
Yeah. Friday's happening. About time for that upgrade.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. What's going on, fellas?
It was good, man. It's good to be back in the building talking about sports. Talking about my squad today.
Oh, is that? Oh, we're doing the NFC South today. You know, I had no idea we was doing the NFC South today. I would have never known.
Yeah.
I forgot they was division.
Right. All right. So, what you got for us today, Kamal?
Hey, man. So, we gonna kick it off with, I guess, Carolina, since it's so themed on at least one of these screens.
Yeah, just a little something for y'all. No, but yeah. So today we're talking about NFC South. We're gonna go from the worst to the best of last season by record only.
Worst to first.
Yeah. So technically,
record by play.
Whatever, man. Say whatever you want.
Spot to the draft. That's where we're gonna go right now.
Whatever metric you want to pick for last year.
Yeah, man. We didn't have a good year. It sucked. Okay, that's just pretty much sums it up. All right. So we had a lot of activity in the off season. But prior to the draft, of course, we we got a new coach, Matt Rule, out of Baylor. Our new head coach was rewarded with a 7-year deal after not coaching one down in the NFL. So I'm intrigued to see how this is going to happen. He does have a background of everywhere he's went, he's actually improved that program exponentially before he left. So he does have that thing going for him. So I am excited about that. He is a open-minded person when it comes to offense. And so I think that's one reason why he went on ahead and probably made one of the biggest hires straight out of college. He got Joe Brady after that record-setting pace at LSU. He's our new offensive coordinator. So you got a new head coach in the first time in the NFL, new offensive coordinator first time in the NFL as well. So a lot of different phases there. Key departures, Cam Newton, face of the franchise, all of that. Then you have the other side of Mount Rushmore in Carolina, Luke Kuechly. He retires early, and so that hurt. And then Greg Olsen. Now he's in Seattle.
That's like the three pillars of
I'm saying, right?
Ron Rivera era.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Add Steve Smith, and that's like y'all Mount Rushmore.
I'm saying, man, for real, right? We released Eric Reed. We did not sign back James Bradbury after a lot of great production. We lost him to the New York Giants. But we did get some great key additions. We did get Teddy Bridgewater. I'm not going to say he's upgrade from Cam Newton. I won't ever say that. But I will say that his productivity, given the system that he was in, he thrived in it in New Orleans. He learned from a great quarterback. When Joe Brady was there, there's a good marriage there for that familiarity as well. So that's going to make a lot of sense. We did trade. There was a little questionable trade I'm not a fan of. Russell Okung came from San Diego Chargers. We traded multiple All-Pro, Pro Bowl Trey Turner for him. I'm still confused as to why that happened. We did sign Robbie Anderson from the Jets. There's some familiarity there with Matt Rule as well. He played at Temple when he coached at Temple. What else? We did something that was really smart. We went on ahead and paid Christian McCaffrey. We went ahead and got that done, extended him through 2025. I don't think he's going to have the same amount of production because we're not going to need him to be a 1,000-yard again. But I think he's going to be able to benefit from the RPO offense that Joe Brady's going to bring from LSU as well. McCaffrey basically is a great running back, but that man could be a star number 2, number 1 wide receiver, you can argue, on some teams in the NFL. And so I think he's going to thrive in this RPO offense as well. And I'm really looking forward to what DJ Moore is going to do as well, too, and Curtis Samuel as well, too. Derek Brown, mammoth of a man from Auburn. We got him in. My favorite draft picks is two people. Yertur Gross-Mato. I think I say his name right.
Yertur Gross-Matos.
There you go. Matos. Yeah.
Tomatoes.
I loved him at Penn State. He reminds me a lot physique-wise and play-wise. If you watch tape side by side of Jason Taylor early on in his career, it is kind of like uncanny. If you watch it, it's really good. And then I really like Jeremy Chin from Northern Illinois. He's a safety. You know, that man hits you right in the mouth. If you watch his tape, he takes no breaks. He reminds me of a more physical Honey Badger, not really finesse-wise, but he hits you a lot in the mouth. I really like him as well. And then we got Kenny Robinson. A lot of people don't remember Kenny Robinson. He left West Virginia, or got kicked off of West Virginia, and he went to the XFL. And he led the XFL in the brief stint there in interceptions. He got drafted into the NFL from the XFL, and I think he's just 20 years old. And so, he has a lot more experience as a regular rookie playing in a pro league in a sense. And then we also got Troy Pride from Notre Dame, who he's not going to be a good replacement for me for Bradbury, but he's going to help some depth in the cornerback and the defensive backfield, especially in NFC South, with all these massive wide receivers that we're going to have to defend every Sunday. So for me, I'm excited about the playmakers in space mentality that Joe Brady's going to bring to the team. I'm also excited about, like I said, that RPO offense and see how finally DJ Moore is going to have an outbreak year. I hope he does because DJ Moore really hasn't played to his potential. Steve Smith even said when he was drafted, nobody else was able to replace him until they drafted him. And that's a lot of weight to carry when you get, talk to me about Steve Smith. But he hasn't really performed to that kind of upper echelon level of wide receiver as of yet either. But overall, I'm excited about my squad, not just saying it as a fan, take the fan hat off. I project that maybe we're going to have, at best, a 9-7 season. Just being realistic. Don't do that. But our defense is going to be revamped. I mean, you got too many coaches who don't have NFL experience, and you can't put light in the bottle. You can't expect Joe Brady to bring LSU offense to the NFL his first year, not with the parts that we have. But right, but I'm excited about it.
I got a butt in. Kamel, what you got, Kamel? Kamel, go ahead. We let you have that because that's your squad. Yeah, let you get that runoff.
Yeah, so oh shit. Nah, Brad, I did want to ask you this question. Pat, I think Matt Rule was playing like a lot of Madden over these past couple of years because we haven't seen in recent history a team go strictly one side of the ball the entire draft. So right. How do you feel that translate onto the field?
I mean, I think that with having Christian McCaffrey on the other side and having a solid run game, I feel like having less holes on the offense, they had multiple holes on the defense. So he focused on that. And he didn't just draft, the sexy player or the sexy pick. It'd been easy for them to pick one of the multitude of wide receivers that were in this draft to help him, since he is kind of, on the offensive guy. They brought Joe Brady in the whole nine, but they focused where they needed to. So like I said, I think them focusing on defense was good. The one thing that I do not like, yes, I do like Jeremy Chin as a pick. I like Derek Brown as a player, but to pass up Isaiah Simmons, to me, obviously we can't sit here and say that was a Matt Rule pick, first time coach in the NFL. Generally not going to have the rule of all say so, but for their player personnel, their GM, to pass him up, which a lot of teams did. He fell, and I think that's because a lot of people aren't open to a player like him and how he can be used in multiple positions. People like to put players in a box and say, this is the one thing you do, and I want you to do this. So unfortunately, because I don't think they were very forward thinking with the way the NFL is going, especially on the offensive side, to pass over a player like Isaiah Simmons, they're going to be very disappointed with. So for all the defensive players that they did pick, I think that's one that who was sitting there in their lap to kind of help replace the captain of their defense in Luke Kuechly, to bring him in for somebody that can play in the box, that can play safety, that can play slot corner, that can play all over the field and just wreak havoc. Like he might be like your modern day like Palomalu type player. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like he's a bigger version of Tyrann Mathieu, who can just play multiple positions.
I agree.
Over the field. So to be able to have somebody athletic sitting there in your lap and to pass on him, that's where I think that was their one miss to me.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. Y'all know I wasn't a fan. We were all watching the draft together, all talking to each other. I was heartbroken. Derrick Brown is a beast.
Absolutely.
But he's not Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah.
And Derrick Brown does one good thing. He does one good thing well, whereas Isaiah Simmons does several things great. And
don't get me wrong, that thing that Derrick Brown does well, especially from the interior of the line to get to the quarterback, is definitely an asset. So like I said, I'm not sitting here saying Derrick Brown was not worth the pick, but with Isaiah Simmons there, I just think that was that's where they should have went.
Yeah. So Vendell has done a lot of crying over this past 12 months with the linebackers, between Kuechly and Simmons. But I do want to add that I really like what they did up front on the defensive line. My one thing is everything they did on the side on the defensive ball made sense. It was the offensive side which was really, really peculiar to me. I feel like they up to something. I feel like it may go into some form of tank format next year to get Trevor Lawrence, and then also there's rumors about them moving to South Carolina and being in the Clemson market as well in Charlotte.
We just made our headquarters. We just made our headquarters office in Rock Hill, South Carolina. That is true.
Yeah.
So
the only thing is, I think that I think by signing Bridgewater, you're not in full tank mode. So I think that's where the issue is. I think if they were, they would have kept our
quarterback and not trade. We would have traded him to the Washington Redskins for sure.
Exactly.
Kyle Allen,
they wouldn't have traded Kyle Allen. So like you said, Teddy Bridgewater is not going to be an upgrade over prime Cam Newton, but he is absolutely an upgrade over Kyle Allen. So that's definitely not a question. But to bring in Eli Apple to play starting cornerback,
I didn't bring that up. Man.
You left it out because you were trying to stay real pro and real positive. But I'm here to say, listen, I'm just not sold on him as an every down starter right now. He's a depth guy to me at this point in his career. But maybe another system, maybe new coaches, maybe somebody gets something out of him. But that potential that he had coming into the league, but like I said, it's gonna be interesting to it's definitely gonna be interesting to see. And this is obviously a something you guys are building on for the long haul. It's not gonna be an overnight thing.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And even if you look at another year, another time that the Panthers don't dress the offensive line, which I said in the last time that the Panthers have not drafted the offensive line in the first round since 2008, since Jeff Otah.
Correct.
And so Teddy Bridgewater will be facing the same thing that Cam Newton would face.
And to make that trade, you guys mentioned, I don't know.
I still don't understand. Russell Okung has come off of multiple knee surgeries and knee injuries, and you trade Trey Turner, who has multiple All-Pros and Pro Bowls. I still do not understand why they.
Y'all got older, more injury riddled, and more expensive on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Right.
So, right. And also, what I do want to say though is that
I lost Darrell Williams.
Yeah, but also I want to say where you were a little bit not as positive. I actually want to give you guys some credit or whatever with this young man's season last year, and that's DJ Moore. I don't think you said he played to his potential yet, and I think he had. I think he did. I think last year was the start of a breakthrough season for him, especially considering the quarterback play that he had. He was one of many sophomore receivers from last year to break 1,000 yards. And for him to have 1,100 yards, I mean, only 4 TDs, but for the quarterback play that he had to deal with for the season, he definitely, is showing that capability to like I said, to be able to get you, 1,100 yards, maybe going forward, and to add somebody like a Robbie Anderson on the other side of him that really give him some help. And Robbie Anderson's never had anybody to give him help before.
Right.
So I'm really interested to see how that is. Robbie Anderson has been, Chad Johnson has always raved about his route running abilities and it being one of his favorite route runners. So, like I said, I want to see what he's able to do in a system like that, where now he doesn't have to be the guy with nobody around him.
Yeah. That's a good point, because he had 4 quarterbacks last year and cracked 1,000 yards. Yeah, that's very impressive.
He had 3.
Still, like that.
But still. No, but I guess for me, when I say potential, I mean, yeah, he had a great season despite what he had to go through, the 1,100 yards. But what I mean, though, is like fluidity-wise, like he wasn't consistent. The last few games he came on, but you're also like in tank mode at some point. And like if you look at his last few numbers in the last few games were kind of inflated to me because you're not playing against the same type of defenses and stuff. But I mean, he was good. Don't get me wrong. I love DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore is a superstar. I just don't think I just hope that on his 3rd year, he doesn't retract back from a sophomore year. He actually moves forward and keeps moving forward, despite having a young offensive coordinator, a young offense, and behind him, and a new head coach. So,
I definitely think he should with an upgrade at quarterback. So
yeah.
So we'll see what Matt Rule got for him. So let's switch gears. So now we're gonna dive into who's next?
Atlanta.
As far as the draft didn't excite me a whole lot. Now they did make this one. I don't even call it a stat, but something they've never done before. They have 17 former first-round picks on their team.
Yeah, they do.
And with the addition, the most notable one was Todd Gurley. And so tell me how y'all feel about Atlanta going into the season.
Brad, you want to go?
Yeah. As far as Atlanta going into the season, I feel like they're going to need a miraculous year from Julio Jones to be in anything even somewhat competitive. I mean, even if Todd Gurley, I feel like if they can, Todd Gurley has been able to play some games, and if he doesn't have this arthritis situation that they're talking about in his knees, I mean that's going to be definitely a big help. From how with that offense to have Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, for them to bring in Laquan Treadwell, who I'm interested to see, but I'm just not really sure. Like that, the draft pick to me to be sitting at 16 in the draft, AJ Terrell, who I thought was going to be there later, with other cornerbacks that I thought that they could have drafted ahead of him. Like I said, their draft did not, like you said, excite me at all. I mean, I think they had a very good kind of sleeper pick in the later rounds, and Jalen Hawkins, who has potential at safety, and the draft him as they did in the 4th round. But other than that, like I said, I'm really wasn't really impressed with what they did. I mean, they got Dante Fowler, but I mean, but they lost Vic Beasley, so I don't know. Like I said, to me, that's kind of a wash. It's a little upgrade.
Yeah, it was a wash.
Like I said, so that's a wash. So you're really not doing anything there.
Right.
You lose Austin Hooper in free agency, but you trade for Hayden Hurst, and that's a step back at tight end. So I just and like I said, I just don't know. I don't know that. Like I said, Matt Ryan has had weapons around him his entire career. So it's not like he hasn't had receivers. It's not like he hasn't had a run game, and he hasn't really always stepped up to the plate. And they don't have a defense that's going to carry them. I think for them really is a Keanu Neal going to be healthy? Things of that nature to really help out that defense, because I think they're going to need it.
For me, as a fan, I want to see certain players succeed from what I loved in college. And Laquan Treadwell, when he played at Ole Miss, was one of my favorite people to watch in the SEC. And when he got to Minnesota, it just didn't happen. I don't know what it was. It was kind of like for me how when the Carolina Panthers selected, there was a wide receiver from USC and he never panned out in the second round.
Dwayne Jarrett.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne Jarrett was going to be this like steal and he was going to be this awesome guy and he never did it. And for me, that's their Laquan Treadwell. That's their Dwayne Jarrett. And I hope he gets a whole new breath of fresh air and a new resurgence in Atlanta. So I'm excited to see what happens there. Todd Gurley, for me, I don't know. You know, he's from North Carolina, but going back to Georgia, he says that's home because he played in Georgia. But, you know, what was interesting to me is more so not even on the field play. It was really kind of like this cockiness of not only am I going to go to Atlanta, I'm also going to wear 21. And that's like a no-no. He could have chose another number, but he wanted to choose 21. And I'm like, if you're going to wear that with those knees, I hope you perform. And, you know, Deion Sanders wasn't a fan of it. And but I don't know, man. For me, I guess I just want to see some more competitiveness come out of like all these 17 first-round picks. You know, Alex Mack, Jake Matthews, they hold it down. Hayden Hurst just came over from, you know, Baltimore. But the thing is, Hayden Hurst was a great player, but he just couldn't stay healthy. And then he lost his starting role to somebody who was picked in the fourth round. That dude balled in tight end.
Mark Andrews was nice in college.
Mark Andrews was nice at Oklahoma. Yeah, he was a problem.
Yeah, he was nice. he went later because he was an undersized tight end.
Okay, gotcha. But Hayden Hurst, you know, in South Carolina wasn't no flop. You know what I'm saying? But he just had injuries.
No, not at all.
So you know what I'm saying? So I think there's just, you know, that scary word, potential, right? Their offense on Madden is going to break records. Will it translate to the real field? I don't know. So I think we're going to be at the same old end all of great offense, but not really going to do anything. I think they're going to probably end up being 6-10. That's just me in my opinion. I think they're going to be 6-10.
I mean, like I said, Ty Gurley gets a lot of you know, slack for being injured and things of that nature. But I mean, he's played 13 games every year of his career. He's played 14 or 15 for the last 3. But I think my bigger issue is with me is how they address the backup running back position, especially you know, league where people have multiple running backs now. And I mean, they were a team before, you know, when you had Devontae Freeman and it's Evan Coleman, and their depth behind Ty Gurley is really letting me know that he's going to be to be like the guy. He's going to get the carries. He's going to stay in on third down, which when he's at his prime, Ty Gurley can be the guy. He can be a top five back, no doubt, in the league. But with somebody who has, you know, the situation with the needs to not bring somebody that could take some slack off of him, is going to be interesting to see how that plays out for the full season.
I don't know, because they do have Ito Smith, who they have for a couple of years. They do like him, and he was there last year when Devontae Freeman went down. I mean, he didn't perform that, but it's someone that
someone that can step in a little bit. But
I mean, and that's what I was like. But also to a point, now granted, we don't know where his knees is, but also Ty Gurley has never had a receiver of Julio Jones' caliber on his team. So
how many people have?
Not many.
I was just about to say.
Not many people have, but
yeah.
he has been in a situation where, you know, he has had, you know, a passing offense and weapons where people did have to respect the passing game and maybe couldn't always bring in. So it's not like he saw a ton of 8-man boxes in St. Louis.
But it was all predicated off the run game because all play action in St. Louis. But and to Fidel, to speak to your point about Laquan Treadwell, me too. I was a fan of his as well. I think that with all the attention going to Julio Jones and now Calvin Ridley, because you cannot leave Calvin Ridley alone whatsoever.
Nope.
That he's gonna get a little bit more single coverage. Well, he always has single coverage, but not more attention gonna be much paid to him. So he might get off. I think a loss that is gonna hurt them, that I don't know why they retain him, was Devondre Campbell, because he's on the field a lot for them, especially on the weaker side of the ball for them. And so to have in the passing league a linebacker that can cover and to give him up and not even retain him, they do have Deion Jones, but you also got somebody beside them. And as far as one acquisition they had, like I really like this guy coming out. He got traded for a 7th round, so it's like throwaway pick. We don't know where it's going to be at. But Charles Harris from Miami, he came out of Missouri. I really like him coming out. He get off the ball fast. So me personally, that's somebody I'll be watching. I hope he can get off, but honestly, you just never know in this league.
Do they still have Keanu Neal? Was he hurt?
Yeah, he's been hurt. He's still there. I think this is kind of one of those kind of prove it year for him. Not really in play, but and can he stay healthy? But yeah, when he's on the field and he is healthy, like we know the athleticism he brings.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we know the type of playmaker he has potential to be.
I think it goes to say. I think it goes without saying. It's a win or get out year for Dan Quinn. He did get brought back. There was a lot of people think he wasn't going to come back, but they brought him back. But I think this is it. If he doesn't do it this year, I don't think he comes back.
So I mean, then I wasn't this year. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that. But yeah, I agree with you because every year we have a conversation like Atlanta contender this year, and every year they have potential to be. And so, and was it this offseason or last offseason where they fired all the coordinators? It was this offseason. They fired all the coordinators.
This past offseason, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we gonna see. So let's dive into the Bucs.
The Bucs. Oh
the
man.
Bucs.
They were the talk of the offseason.
So let's start with the draft and end with free agency for the Bucs.
Okay.
So tell me what y'all feel about the draft.
So my thing on the draft, obviously they had to address the offensive line, and drafting Tristan Wirth out of Iowa to play tackle, to me was a solid pick. They had another solid pick in the 2nd round with Antoine Winfield.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Antoine Winfield Jr. Like I said, who plays safety and I think can come in and be a starter right away. And if I'm not mistaken, Brady's rookie year played with his father or against, he was in the NFL the same year as his father, his rookie season. So it's played now with his son now.
Yeah.
I mean, they drafted another running back in the 3rd, Keyshawn Vaughn from Vanderbilt. I wasn't in love with the pick. And then another receiver to go along with already a deep wide receiver and tight end room.
Tyler Johnson.
But Tyler Johnson from Minnesota, who has a lot of upside.
Yes, sir.
That was my favorite pick for now.
Yeah,
Me too. Yeah, man. I liked can't pronounce his name from Temple. Is it Chappelle Russell? But he was very productive in Temple. They got him in the 7th round. I thought it was a very quality pick. He's gonna make the team. He actually played his freshman year under Rule, and then stayed out and kept playing. And he just progressed all his years there. He went on from being a special teams player to a starter. So I think he has a lot of upside as well. And then Khalil Davis from Nebraska. I think it was a good quality pick as well for the D-line. But yeah, I mean, I like that draft, man. It was a very good Bruce Arians type of pick, man, like type of players.
I said, especially up top of those first 2 picks.
Yeah.
And then and then the wide receiver from Minnesota, like I said, bringing him in late in the 5th round, grabbing him. Like I said, overall, like I said, I think a solid draft to go along with one of the craziest off seasons for any team. To really think about when you can add the GOAT, in many eyes, to your team in the offseason. Yes, it might be in his 20th year or whatever it is. He's 40-something years old, but to see what he has left in the tank, to be able to bring Brady in, to bring to breathe fresh air into that organization. Just him coming in, I think, gives that team a lot of confidence that they've never had before. Just to have him in the building, and then for Gronk to come out of retirement and basically force himself to be able to play with Tom Brady, which you got to credit Gronk, for being able to control his situation, and to go there. I mean, I've never seen a tight end group like this one before. I mean,
O.J. Howard,
Cameron
Rob
Brady,
Gronkowski, and Cameron
yeah.
Brate.
I mean, that's like I said. I know when he first got there, because there have been rumors of O.J. Howard being traded. I think a lot of people thought that would happen. They quickly started up, and then they were kind of quickly quieted, and them saying that they're going to keep all three, and maybe that's because they're trying to play both the short term and long term game, and maybe they realize maybe Gronk only has a year in him. Who knows what Brady does after this season. So if Gronk isn't going to be able to play more than 1 year, or Gronk has always had injuries, that he's dealt with, that you still have another tight end that you can bring in. And we'll see what kind of rotation they get going at that tight end spot, and then to add obviously Mike Evans on the outside, Chris Godwin, who had a crazy end of last season and is really coming along. And to add all that as well to give Brady, is definitely going to be interesting.
I mean, I think
both of them had 1,000-yard receivers. Receiving seasons too. Yeah.
I think it's crazy. In all the years he played, Randy Moss clearly the best wide receiver he's ever had, but he's never had this much help on both sides. The X, the Y. Then you got a slot receiver. Then you're gonna have tight end sets. I mean, just to think about all the multiple sets they can run, it's a little unfair. And you got the cerebral assassin Tom Brady back there picking everybody out. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do. Hate he's in my division, but
it's definitely interesting to see what he's gonna do. Especially being the fact that he said, "Listen, I want to learn your guys' system. I'm not looking to bring mine with me." Now, obviously, he's going to have wrinkles and things like that he likes to do, of course. But for him to say, I'm here, teach me your system. Reaching out to a Cameron Brate and Mike Evans to say, "Hey, get me up to speed." It's definitely going to be interesting, because he's been somebody who's in recent years has been that quick, that to get the ball in and out, a lot of quick routes. And that's not necessarily Mike Evans' game. That's not necessarily, a Gronk's game or some of these tight ends.
That's not the Bruce Arians scheme either.
That's not the Bruce Arians scheme either. So it's going to be very interesting to see. And I think Brady feels like he has a lot of things to prove. Yeah. There are the naysayers, the ones that don't want to give him credit for things and want to say, well, it's all Belichick. It was all the New England system. All that stuff. A lot of people have said, he doesn't have the arm strength anymore and things like that. So now you have this kind of vertical offense. We're going to be able to see, like I said, how it all meshes and how he's going to be able to adapt into the system. But I mean, the weapons are definitely there, and I mean, I don't think anybody is going to be able to benefit from this. From everything that's happened in Tampa Bay, more than Ronald Jones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is still rumors out there of them bringing in Devontae Freeman.
Yeah.
And but you know what came to the O.J. Howard rumors? Probably Brady came in and said, "No, there's no way you trading him. Like, you gonna keep him.
Yeah.
You gonna keep him.
I can use that. That's what he told him. Yeah. I can use that.
Yeah, I know what talent doesn't look like.
Mm-hmm. I don't
all the years in New England, but the one thing I want to touch on is that while all the noises were made around their offense is that their defense. Now, granted, their defense on the field a lot last year because Jameson went 30 for 30, and but their defense did play well last year when it was on the field. It's just that after a while you just get tired of being constantly on the field, and so they retained their entire defense. I don't think they brought anybody new up there, maybe in the draft, but they retained their entire defense, who played really well last year.
Right, like I said, I think the only person that's going to be, will be included in that starting lineup on their defense will potentially be Antoine Winfield. We'll see, like I said, if he can break one of those two spots to start the season. If not, I definitely feel like at some point, or or to see if he's the one that comes in. If they go to a nickel or dime, they try to come in kind of big with three safety as opposed to bringing in maybe a nickel corner, especially depending on what teams are playing and how their personnel grouping is. But it's definitely gonna be interesting. That defense did play well later on, but a lot of times, like I said, was maybe put in bad situations because of field position from the turnovers that they received and all of that. So definitely gonna be interesting to see, like I said, what now they're gonna be able to do. Maybe with more rest in between series, so and better field position.
Yeah.
And okay, sorry.
Well, I was just saying, I think that I'm really excited to see the progression now of Levante David and White, this young linebacker core. Oh man, yeah, but I am so excited to see them too, man. For a long time, what I see in them is what I saw in a brief stint of 4 to 5 years between Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis.
Don't forget Shaquille Barrett.
And I was about to say that.
Shaq Barrett, boy.
And then Shaq Barrett. That's what I'm about to say. So like you talk about a linebacking core, man. They're not just young; they're fast. They're very fast.
Yes.
And they can in that division, they're going to be able to cover and make up ground. And you're talking about linebackers who can actually cover a slot receiver just fine. And so I'm excited to see what they do. So I'm sorry to see your Thunder there, Kamal, but
look, I got another point, but but as far as because they do have 2 really good run stuffers, and Dominic Kasu, he's getting up there in age, he still can stop the run, and also Vita Vea. And he played really well last season, and so just more continuity with that. With you bring everybody back again, and then they get more rest, and then everyone meshing and gelling together, and you don't Devin White, who's no longer a rookie. And so I think I'm looking forward to seeing their defense as well.
Yeah, man.
No, definitely.
New Orleans.
I just want to say.
Wait. If you're gonna touch on Drew Brees, you're gonna say that for last.
I'm not gonna go about that. I just want to interject. I hope the very first play that we play against them, it's a NASCAR defense and just straight pass rush. That's all I on the first down. That's all I care about. But anyway, I'll let you get into it.
All right. Saints finishing top of the division again. Got another yet heartbreaking loss out the playoffs. And so let's talk about their offseason. They brought in someone like Malcolm Jenkins, which was
brought him back.
Yeah, brought him back, and they need help in that secondary, especially on the back end, because they have a really good corner and Marshawn Lattimore. Who else did they bring in?
Man, listen, they finally got Mike Thomas some help. They brought in Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah.
Oh, Sanders from 49ers. Oh, I forgot.
They brought in Emmanuel Sanders.
I forgot about that. Oh, God.
That offense in particular has not had 2 wide receivers.
Yeah.
In a very long time. There's not like this squad in Atlanta where, he's had Matt Ryan's had wide receivers after wide receivers. It's been Mike Tompa. Like Alvin Kamara has been their second leading receiver as far as like receptions and all of that.
But didn't they have old buddy who got traded to the LA Rams and then he got traded again?
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks, though. They had Brandon Cooks, though.
Yeah, that was Mike. That was Mike Thomas.
Yeah, but that was Mike Thomas rookie year. So like
it was those 2 and Willie Snead.
Yeah.
Like I said, so it's been, like I said, it hasn't been too long, but Drew Brees always hasn't had that like going back and him having
Marcus Colston.
The Panthers player. No.
Joe Horn.
No. Recently, I'm talking about like their slot receiver, the downfield. Goodness gracious. Again. Yes, thank you. Like I said, like that was your second receiver, so to speak.
Yeah.
If you're talking about a true wide receiver, because really it was Mike Thomas, and then we're going to find a way to get the ball to Alvin Kamara. Like that's these are our
You
two
know,
options.
that is a common theme. And then also when Drew Brees was throwing the ball a lot, they kept going 7-9. But before that, like predating Michael Thomas, it was Marcus Colston and
Yep.
Darren Sproles.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
So
right.
to still be able to have the run game that they have, to have the the double-headed monster with Kamara, with Latavius Murray to be able to come be that change of pace back, and now to add into a Mike Thomas who's not going to drop anything. It don't matter how people you send him to cover, like he's going to find a way to get open. And now you bring in an Emmanuel Sanders who's going to be their number 2, but is really going to thrive in that slot role. It's going to be interesting to watch how their offense and what Sean Payton dials up for that offense.
Yeah, I agree with that. I more so hope that the defense, I guess, for them improves. When I say improves, I mean we already talked about the staples on the defense they already have. But did they do any other additions on defense in the offseason?
I mean, they drafted a linebacker who,
Oh yeah, Zach Bond.
Zach Bond from Wisconsin.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. That's
solid pick. A lot of people thought he might be the first person taken in like the second round,
Yeah.
and they were able to grab him in the third.
He's the best player on the board.
Yeah, I'm best player on the board when they drafted him, but they're a team that kind of plays the nickel as like their primary offense.
Yeah.
So we'll see, like, will they actually go to a 4-3, or will they stay at nickel? And is he going to be able to, if they stay in that nickel as their base, is he going to be able to break into it? And because he's not getting in Demario Davis' spot, is he going to be able to get into Alex Anzalone's spot? So like that's where it's going to be interesting to see. But I mean, he has great potential. It's going to add depth to that linebacker core for sure. And then they were also able to secure on the offensive side, the interior of that line. By drafting Cesar Ruiz, who played center at Michigan, but they drafted a center the previous year. So Cesar Ruiz is going to bump out to guard. But I mean, that's like I said, to be able to have two centers like that in the interior, like I said, is definitely going to help.
There's one player in particular that I'm excited about. It's a little biased. His name is Shy Tuttle on the defensive line. Shout out to my in-laws there. Shy was undrafted out of Tennessee, multiple injuries, and I think everyone knows the infamous stiff arm on Matt Ryan last year. It was a gif over and over again, memes over and over again. But very excited to see him compete for a starting position this year, and not just being a rotational player. But yeah, just my wife's cousin. So throw that out there, a little shameless plug. But yeah.
Yeah. But back to the defense, what you said about playing nickel, I know Malcolm Jenkins played all over Philly. And so they might bring him as that nickel backer. And then as far as like they've always been good at stopping the run. So I don't really have too many questions like as far as the defense. The one question that we are all here for is that what is their locker room going to be like? Would Drew Brees say in the comments that he said as far as he made the anthem protest about the flag, which for people who don't know is that he was doing an interview with Yahoo Finance, which I still don't understand why. But and they asked him with everything going on in the world right now and players being so vocal and being so active, that does he see potential kneeling coming back to the NFL? And he made it about the flag and about the anthem, and he said that he had players that he had both his grandfathers fought in the war, and that when he puts his hand over the heart, that's very special to him, and he's honoring like his family. And he caught a lot of heat from that. LeBron James, first person to say something. Mike Thomas. Me personally, I don't like Mike Thomas because of attitude, but I like Mike Thomas because of attitude. Like if all the smoke, somebody who wants all the smoke was a person in the NFL, it'd be Mike Thomas.
But Mike Thomas and their new receiver, Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, Emmanuel Sanders got on them. And then Malcolm Jenkins gave him and he berated him because then Malcolm Jenkins made a good point. He's like, there are black people who fought in the war too. And anytime someone says that, it's like you're literally making the entire military white. And you're saying that because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
and he's still trying to make, and he's still trying to make it about never going to accept disrespect to the flag.
Yeah, and he said he really respect those players as well.
And really just not understanding that it's not a disrespectful movement. It's not. It was never done out of any kind of disrespect for the flag or for the people who have fought in the war. And obviously, like Malcolm Jenkins stated, and why he was so mad is because literally you have a locker room of people that you could have learned why this was going on, and you ignored it. And
not only that is that because he's so involved in the community, and like Shannon Sharp said, was that because it was him. Like if it was some other quarterbacks who don't have the backing, and also like if you look at the starters, maybe like 2 or 3 are white, and that you made about something it wasn't. That's why it hurt, and people were so mad about it. So.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Now he came out. He came out. Now he came out and apologized. When Malcolm Jenkins actually put out that video, I believe he had recorded it and then actually had received a call from Drew Brees before posting it, or while he was recording it, and he said, I'm still putting this out because I want people to know like the raw emotion and how I feel, because there's people who think like Drew Brees thought. And they wound up talking, and he accepted his apology. Mike Thomas accepted his apology. So it's really going to come down to whether or not are people saying they accept the apology for media's sake? You know what I mean? And they're going to handle it on their end, and they're going to continue to talk to Drew Brees and deal with and watch how his actions speak and not just his words. So like I said, it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. It really just depends on what kind of conversations I think that he's had with players in the locker room, and whether or not they feel that his apology and his actions are sincere, or was he saying this because now the whole world was turning on him and let me say something quick because I don't want to be the bad guy, so let me just apologize. So I think
it was a PR move. I don't think he sends a reply until the heat turns up so high. I don't think Drew Brees understood the magnitude of his platform. Like you said, Kamal, to his point, Drew Brees, you're not just a regular quarterback. People actually look to him a little bit to be a champion and be a little different. And it was a slap in the face and a shock. Like, do you know right outside of Mercedes-Benz, the 8th Ward, 7th Ward, this impoverished community of black people, you just slapped all these people in the face? Do you know how many people look to you as a beacon of hope from Katrina and all that good stuff you did for Katrina? Some people can say, Stephen A. Smith said it. He said, all those good efforts you did, you just washed away in one comment.
And
that's it.
And the other thing was,
he definitely should. Like one thing I was saying, like he should know. To Vendell's point, he should know. We're talking about a quarterback who walks home from practice, and like you said, the neighborhood is right there. And there are some bells you just can't unring. I saw this quote that was saying, "What you said the first time is what you meant. What you said the second time is what you were supposed to say."
Right.
Yeah. That's it. That's it, Kamal.
And you know what? And the funny thing is you say that, Kamal, and what he said the second time still wasn't good. This is somebody who had to apologize twice in a very short period of time because like Vendell said, he felt the apology was very PR, and I think the initial one was. I don't know if that was the Saints trying to help him out, if he has his own PR team, if it was his agent trying to get people for him, but to go buy a stock photo of a black and white handshake and put something very, very, very broad out there, some weak kind of apology, it wasn't enough. And I think he heard heat from that, whether it had been Michael Thomas or whoever he heard it from. But then you've seen him then put a video statement out trying to address it, to really say, how he feels and things of that nature. So it's like I said, people in New Orleans who were protesting were there not saying, not too kind words for Drew Brees.
Yeah.
So how's the city also going to take it? He can talk to those players personally, and he might be able to talk to them and really express, how he feels and maybe how sorry he is and what he's doing and listening or whatever. But how are the fans going to take it?
Yeah.
How are they going to like? Are they going to boo him? The first time.
For real.
Now we know obviously winning cures, winning cures, but how hostile and how hostile will they remain? So that's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out.
To a point, the fear that everyone has in NFL about Colin Kaepernick and how many people would distract while you're at a game, you can flip that coin and say, Drew, do you understand how many people now are going to want to come to the game just to protest, put Black Lives Matter in the stands just so you can understand that you cannot dismiss us? I think that he doesn't understand that this is going to go away. We have all played football. Everyone on this podcast has played football. And what you keep in that locker room is one thing, and they're going to say they want to say. You saw a lot of people outpouring on Twitter and Instagram, that's my guy, that's my quarterback, I love you. But when those doors shut, he's going to get cussed to slap out. He's going to get fussed out. It's not going to go away. They're going to do what they need to do to play a game. But to your first question, Command, how's that locker room going to be? I'll tell you, man, I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be that easily combed over.
Right.
It's really not. It's really not. And to say that it's not going to translate to how they play football, the first frustration that you get on that sideline, and you're going to forget what's going on in the game. You're going to remember this is the person that I actually have been holding against or how I don't like you. The first time Mike Thomas is mad at Drew Brees, it'll come out. The first time Emmanuel Sanders or being a new guy there, he don't got no relationship with him like that. He just got there. He's going to lash out. I mean, it's going to happen, man. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
It's called,
what also makes what can make matters worse is the fact that a lot of people already assume this to be Brees' farewell tour.
Yeah, that's the same point I would say. Yeah.
So if you're not somebody who I even have to see after this year, and me and you ain't really cooking, and I'm not really accepting your apology. Like you said what you said, but now what efforts have you put forward, especially if players then go to nil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
if he doesn't, and everyone else does,
or even if he does, but what if he kind of gives pushback in the locker room before it actually happens that you don't see, that maybe doesn't come out, and maybe he finally does because somebody gets to him to say, listen, this isn't what you're going to want, and he does it reluctantly. But if those players see that in the locker room, that even still, like, he still doesn't get it.
Yeah.
But it's and you're not planning to be here next year anyway. You've already signed a TV deal.
For me, like, the locker room's gonna be torn. You're gonna have people who forgive him. There's people who kind of forgive him, like, all right, forgive you, but I still remember what you said. You got people who just, then people who just outright won't forgive him. People who are indifferent on it. But you can kind of look at it like in an injury context. That team kind of tore their ACL, and so now they have to work to get back. And it might be a point where it comes too toxic, like whether people kneel or not. And like it's kind of be one like if he does it, then it's like, oh, you going to do this because of backlash. And if he doesn't do it, it's like, oh, this is what we expect from you. And then it could be something. Drew Brees had a bad game, and it's like, oh, put Jameson. So it's kind of it's gonna take a while. And I'm gonna just kind of cut this. I'm gonna cut this short, but like so we can get back to the recap.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna take a while to mend those fences. And like you said, Brad, like the farewell tour, like this could be very ugly. But any given Sunday, who knows? Saints be back in the playoffs next year. So who won off season?
In this division?
Yeah.
I
think it's one answer for the offseason. I think it's one answer for the offseason.
It's only one. There's not even a question. Some people are saying that Tampa Bay is going to win the Super Bowl.
And,
on the offseason.
and I do want to touch on what we didn't talk about in New Orleans, and that was what Kamal just brought up a little bit about Jameis Winston going to New Orleans. I do just want to touch to say I think that's a great landing spot for him. And if this is Drew Brees' last year, for him to be able to kind of learn and develop and get in that offense, and for him to see his true potential and to maybe take over that spot, and get back kind of in a good situation. I think that was a solid move for him. But as far as who won the offseason, I think the Bucs is the obvious answer. Now who had the best draft? I think can be a different conversation and maybe a tougher choice.
I'll tell you, it wasn't the Falcons. I can say that.
Yeah, we know it's not.
You say it wasn't who?
The Falcons.
It wasn't the Falcons.
Oh, no. The Falcons lost the offseason when they changed the uniforms to that uniform. That's one. But
yeah. So I mean, the Falcons lost the offseason. They lost the draft. They lost free agency.
Yeah, all that.
To me, they lost everything. But winner of the draft or best draft class, I think you have to go Carolina.
And I was glad you said that, because I was going to say to go all defense.
You're glad I said that.
Well, I'm just saying, but the truth is, to go all defense, the first time anybody's ever done that, but especially because of the mindset and the philosophy of that coach and being all offense and going all in with getting Joe Brady, you didn't give him any weapons. It says, we have a process here. We know I have a 7-year deal for a reason. This is not going to be a one-hitter quitter. This is going to be a 3-4 year scheme. Just like how he did at Temple, it was 3 to 4 years. Like he did at Baylor, it was 3 years. Like, it's going to be a 3 to 4 year plan, and they're committed to it. And just off the rip of just addressing holes and putting them right in there, I think it was perfect. I would say right after that, it'd be Tampa Bay, just because of the fact of who they got for who they also brought in the offseason. And then from there, I would say it's going to probably be New Orleans, then Atlanta, just by default.
Yeah, Tampa Bay won the draft for me.
Okay.
Yeah, just because of like who they got, where they got, the value they got with everybody. Every pick made sense. There wasn't one, like, you can debate the talent they have, but they got one that's kind of like, yes, that's definitely they needed that. And also, like, it was good value. Like the first 3 picks were very good to me. So that's where I'm at as far as the draft.
Okay. Yeah. So anybody got predictions for this division?
Yes, I believe, again, as I've said it before, I think it'll go in this order from top to bottom. Believe it or not, I still, and people don't think I'm crazy for this, but I still have New Orleans win the division. Despite all the stuff we just talked about, they have this continuity there still. If they can get through the locker room, division, and stuff of that nature, muscle memory and, all of that stuff on the field is going to be there already. There's a chemistry there. Tampa Bay will make the playoffs. They will come in second. If they don't win the division, they're going to be definitely, get a playoff spot. I think Carolina comes in third and Atlanta comes in fourth. You still think the Panthers come in fourth, don't you, man?
Yes.
Okay.
Tampa wins the division. New Orleans, I don't know. I'm just leave it there. Tampa wins the division, and yes, I do think the Panthers still coming last in the division.
Bradley, go ahead and say it again. You think the Panthers will be fourth?
I honestly don't care who finishes in the basement of your division. to be 100% honest with you. I have no ill will towards the Panthers, but I don't live in Charlotte and have to deal with them all the time like Kamal does. But I wanted to maybe 2 weeks ago, not pick Tampa Bay because I knew a lot of people will be on them, and to say, I think the Saints could edge it out. But with everything going on potentially in that locker room and the extreme amount of talent that is in Tampa Bay, I'm picking the Bucs to win to win a division. And then, like I said, we know Atlanta. Or like I can sit here and say, obviously, Carolina's not going to be in playoff contention. Atlanta will need a crazy year from Matt Ryan to be back in playoff contention, and I don't know that he has that in him. So, like I said, the Saints, I can definitely still see getting back into the playoffs. But with all of their success recently in the playoffs, I don't know that ends well. Unfortunately, I mean, it seems like they've been cursed the past couple of years. So, I mean, like I said, for 3 years in a row to lose the way they lost. I mean, the miracle in Minnesota, the no call defensive pass interference, and then the no call offensive pass interference. I guess it's a crazy 3 ways to have to end your season.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that wraps up the NFC South. We'll be back with with more sports talk and definitely finishing up the divisions ahead of the start of the NFL season. But we appreciate y'all for rocking with us and listening to the episode, and we'll catch y'all next time.
All right.